Last time I have presented you a new idea and a new build that I'll be using on the Revelation, and I also changed my tackle out from a Stabber fleet into a Daredevil. Now, so far, the previous build is working really well. I'm very surprised at the results. And this is one of the most lethal combinations that I could come up with. Now, originally I thought to go by a Vigilant, but I would probably kill my own Vigilant because of how this build works. It would be killed by accident, by the way. So a Daredevil, being a smaller ship, can easily avoid my Revelation's lasers in case I accidentally shoot at it. Now let me quickly log in the alt. For some reason the game crashed on my alt, and let me park both ships at the gate just to show you how the whole setup process works. Now, I also mentioned that I'll be playing around with a different build and I'll be advancing this current setup. This is definitely not the final build. I did play around with the large capacitor transmitters. They are okay. And the only thing that I have a problem with the large transmitters is the fact that the cycle time is taking a little bit longer, but at the same time they do charge a lot more capacitor. Now, one aspect that I really like about the medium transmitters is the fact that they have a very quick cycle time and they are very usable on the Revelation. Okay, both ships are almost at the gate. The Daredevil already arrived at the gate. Now, the Daredevil can also be used as a scout ship because it's very fast. And I also did work on increasing the skills on the Daredevil. Now, I could technically swap the Mark V extender into a better faction extender. After all, I still don't really plan on using turrets on the tackle Daredevil. I like the way the ship is working at the moment. Now, with the transmitters, I might end up using one large transmitter and one medium transmitter. The large transmitter can work when the ship is away from the ship, and the medium one can work when the ship is docked on the Revelation. Now, when I say docked, I don't mean the ship actually going inside of the Revelation, but basically docked means orbiting around the mothership. Basically, the Daredevil is like a controllable big drone, and personally I like how this little combination works. Now, in the future I might go and swap the Daredevil into a Vigilant, but it depends on a lot of factors, and we have one Guardian. Unfortunately, no bubble at the moment, so the ship did manage to survive. Okay, that was a little bit unlucky. It looks like today is going to be a very, very nice day. Already first target, they escaped, but that's not a big problem. So, the Daredevil can now have the micro drive active at all time. Basically, I can keep the modules running and I don't have to worry about the capacitor running out of this ship. And with better skills, the capacitor stability will be a lot better on the tackle Daredevil. And perhaps in the future I can even change the medium energy transmitter into a different support module. Honestly, the way that I have the Revelation fitted is very unique. Haven't thought that I'll be using the Revelation in such a way like ever, and honestly very surprised at how well it runs. Now, the optimal range is 5 and the accuracy of is 7.5 kilometers. I orbit at about 2 kilometers, and still the energy does get recharged very nicely. The tracking disruptors have proven to be very useful because most of the danger comes from ships that use turrets. With the tracking disruptors, the Daredevil is safe from ships that have very good tracking because they can't hit the Daredevil easily if they have tracking disruptors on them. And the guidance disruptor is good against missile ships. It does help at reducing the damage taken from the missiles. However, only one of them is basically needed because the Daredevil can easily speed tank missiles, and even if the missile ship starts doing some damage on the Daredevil, I have the medium extender, and by the time they start doing damage on my Daredevil, I can easily shoot it down with the Revelation. So overall, I'm very happy with this current setup. Can only be improved and can only be better. Currently working on increasing the capacitor on the Daredevil, and I'm also looking to change this extender into a better extender, which should give me a lot better shield. After all, I have a lot of unused power grid at the moment, so all that power grid will be used for extra tank, or perhaps if I have some power grid left, I might use some turrets on the Daredevil. But at the moment, the Daredevil's purpose is tackle only, and for that purpose, this current setup is very nice. So that means I'll only have to change the extender into something that's going to be a lot more effective. Well, with that being said, I think it will be time to go and let's blow up some ships. The first target for today is going to be a capital ship. Now this does not happen that often. We have destroyed about 4 or 5 other capital ships on this gate, so having a capital ship jump in is a very pleasant surprise. Now let me quickly go and ping Discord just in case this ship is a bait. Okay. Everyone has been pinged. Now I can put the Discord window down. Okay, now the Discord window is down. So I'm doing some good alpha damage on this capital ship, and it looks like this pilot has some good freighter skills because it takes some time to go through the shield of this ship. I remember last time when one of these ships came in, they didn't take this long to reach armor, but this one does seem to have some good skills for this ship. Now I have some tracking disruptors. I have basically all of my modules, all of my E-War modules on this ship, because why not? Although kind of pointless to have a tracking disruptor on a freighter because they don't have any turrets. The Daredevil webs keep the Charon webbed, and I don't think that they are going to be moving at a high velocity at all. After all, 3 Daredevil webs are quite strong, and I believe they are moving at 1 or 0 meters per second. They can rotate their ship, but I don't believe that they can move, so this should be a pretty good target. Not really sure what the pilot is trying to do, or an even better question, not really sure why the pilot is in this system. Someone messed up the autopilot, I assume. Now the freighter is in 50% hull. I'm doing some good alpha damage. So far I think I did about 47,000 damage. One more hit and the freighter will be destroyed. Cannot wait to see the explosion. Should be pretty glorious. Or not. Okay, well I guess the freighter got snapped in half over here. And well, the freighter is destroyed. This was a capital ship. Okay, well unfortunately my Concord Pass has been done for a while now, but let's take a look at the kill of 15 billion. And this freighter had a lot of stuff in the cargo hold. Unfortunately, it's not loaded as much as I thought it could be, but I'm not going to complain. After all, this is a capital ship, and not every day that a capital ship just happens to stroll in our home system. Well, and here you can take a look at the wreck. Does look very nice. I like the wreck design of the capital ships. The freighter got snapped in half, basically. Overall, a solid kill. One of my best kills to date. And a very nice start to the video. Today is going to be a very nice day with the revelation. And I almost have achieved my goal with over 1,000 kills. Next target we have one Macarial. Let me quickly go and send my alt to web the Macarial just so that I can hit this ship. Now Macarial can be a very hard to hit ship if you are using a capital ship because it's fast. It has a very small signature radius for a battleship. So webbing the Macarial is going to be a very smart thing to do. They have been webbed. I have my tracking disruptors on the battleship so that they can't hit any of our ships. The Macarial is in hull. One more hit should do the job. And the Macarial is destroyed. The Concord Pass got reset, so I did set some missions to be active, and well, I believe I just done my Concord Pass with this kill. Okay, let's take a look at the kill. 3.8 billion. Very nice. An armor tank Macarial. Surprisingly, this Macarial did not have any warp core stabs. This is something very rare, and this Macarial did not have any nanocore, which is not a big deal because I also use ships without nanocores. I actually reprocessed a lot of my old nanocores that I don't use, even some upgraded ones, because, well, I have no use for them. Next target we have one rattlesnake. This rattlesnake also doesn't seem to have a lot of nanocore stuff going on. However, this rattlesnake did have a lot of shield, so I expect a passive shield tank out of this ship. The rattlesnake is into low armor and the rattlesnake is destroyed. Nice. The value on the rattlesnake has been reduced significantly. It used to be like 11 billion, now it's like 2 billion. Basically, some faction cruisers are more worth than a rattlesnake, which is a little bit hilarious, but that's how things are at the moment. 2.5 billion, a very cheap PvP rattlesnake, a passive shield tank rattlesnake, which is not a bad idea, but you have to add some adaptive shield hardeners just to take advantage of the ship's natural shield resistance. After all, the rattlesnake has a bonus on shield resistance, about 20% if you have the skill on level 5. But looked like a decent idea. The rigs were also DPS rigs. I would replace that with tank rigs. Now this Astro was lucky the first couple times because they did escape, but for some reason they did come back, and this time they got tackled and the Astro is destroyed. Well, let's take a look at the loot. We have one scanner. Unfortunately, looks like no Sister of Eve debris have dropped, but that one scanner was very nice. Was a cheap Astro by the looks of the wreck, 1 billion. Well, yeah, the best loot did not drop. We got one scanner, and this Astro did not have any rigs, which is a little bit weird. Next target we have one Cinnabal. It is important to have tracking disruptors on this Cinnabal, because the Cinnabal can kill the Daredevil very easily. And we have one Vexor that popped in. Let's quickly delete the Vexor as well. The Vexor came at the wrong moment, unfortunately. And the Vexor has also been destroyed. Nice. So we have one Cinnabal and one Vexor side by side. Of course, the Cinnabal is the more valuable kill. Let me go and loot the Cinnabal wreck, and then I can send the alt back around the mothership. Let's take a look at the kills. 1.3 billion Cinnabal kill, very nice. A PvP Cinnabal by the looks of it. Okay, Angel Debris, very nice. Let's go back around the orbit of the big boat for the capacitor recharge. I leave the micro updrive on at all times because the ship already orbits around the Revelation, so the capacitor is stable. And a 16 million kill Vexor. Next we have another Macarial. Well, looks like it's Macarial party again, not really sure why there is so many of these ships flying around, but hey, I'm not going to complain. A Macarial is still a faction battleship, and this one looks very nice. I really like the color design of this Macarial. Now here, my alt is offline. Had to plug the device into the charger, so the alt went offline for some reason, but I think I don't need to have the alt online because the Macarial is going towards my ship, so the transversal velocity should be low enough for my turrets to hit, and so far no issues with the tracking. The Macarial is into hull. They are still approaching. They have tracking disruptors on them so that they can't hit any of our ships. And the Macarial is destroyed. A very nice second kill. Second Macarial kill. Or is it the second kill? I actually have no idea how many Macarials I've killed. But one thing is sure, I've killed a lot of Macarials. Now this Macarial was a sniper. Okay, a sniper Macarial. Very interesting. Don't see a lot of these ships around anymore. Don't see a lot of sniper Macarials, that's what I'm trying to say. Next we have one Nereus, my apologies, one Humpback hauling. This ship is also classified as a battleship. Not really sure what a hauling ship is doing here, but it is still going to be a very nice target and probably a very nice kill. Okay, back around the big boat with the alt. And let's take a look at the kill. 404 million, not bad, pretty solid. Now someone asked me how much ISK did we make. We made a lot of ISK recently, and it looks like it's going to be better and better. Next we have another Macarial. Now I really like the look on the nanocore design of this Macarial. Really nice design, but unfortunately my job is to destroy ships, so this Macarial has to be destroyed. They have been webbed and the Macarial is destroyed. Okay, let's send the alt to loot the wreck. Now the one issue that I still have with the RevDevil is the low cargo hold. Basically I have to dock the loot multiple times when I loot a big wreck. But it's not a big problem. After all, the gains that I have with the Daredevil are worth the sacrifices. Okay, looted and back around the orbit of the Revelation. And yes, I almost killed my own alt there. If that was a Vigilant, that Vigilant would be dead because, well, I shoot at my alt very often by accident. That's one thing that might be a small issue, but with practice that will probably stop from happening. Now the next target we have one Dominix. The Dominix has jumped in with low shield. Not really sure why they have low shield, but in any case I'm going to send my alt to tackle. The Dominix is already in hull. Didn't take much to go into the hull of this ship, which is a little bit weird. Usually battleships have a lot more tank, but I guess this Dominix did not have a lot of tank. And the Dominix is destroyed. Let's take a look at the wreck. Oh, sweet poison mission drop. That's about 200 million right there, and some drones, some turrets. Yeah, this is a pretty good loot drop. Let me loot what I can, and then I will have to dock, unload the loot, and then come back to loot the rest of the wreck. Overall, a pretty solid catch. Oh, a Caracal Navy also warped in. Let's send the alt to tackle. Whoops, let's not lock the pod. Happens quite often when there is so many targets on the overview. Okay, locking on the Caracal Navy with the Revelation. They have been webbed. The Caracal doesn't shoot at the alt at the moment. If the Caracal decides to shoot at the alt, then I can just use the Guidance Disruptor, but that doesn't have to be... I don't have to use that for now, because one hit was enough to remove the Caracal from the grid. And now let me dock the loot, because, well, perhaps next target might be even better. Okay, solid loot. Let's take a look at the Caracal and Dominix skill. 762 million Dominix skill. They used large turrets, artillery turrets, and overall the best thing that dropped was the mission, and the Caracal was 203 million. The Caracal has some pretty nice missile launchers, quite expensive. Overall decent loot drop and decent loot value. Next we have one Tyra. Now, usually when we have a transport ship, I get really, let's say, curious about the contents of the transport ship. They have been webbed. The Tyra is trying to burn back to the gate, but that's not going to work. Okay, tracking disruptors on, and the Tyra has been destroyed. Okay, that was a very nice explosion. And I smell bling. I smell that the Tyra dropped something very valuable. Well, we're about to find that out in a moment. 1.1 billion, and yes, it dropped some industry stuff. Overall things that are useful for a citadel, I guess, or an outpost. Now I checked the market. That's about 1.2, 1.3 billion in loot from that one ship, so the overall kill value is actually less than the actual value of the stuff that had dropped, which is very nice. Next we have one Astra. Sending my alt to tackle the Astra. Astra webbed. And well, in a moment the Astra will be destroyed. There we go. Nice. Always hurts me to shoot one Astra, but they have expensive scanners, and they are a Sister of Eve ship, which translates into a lot of ISK. So let me take a look at the wreck. Should be pretty good, should be pretty tasty. Always nice when there is a Sister of Eve ship on the menu. This is the third one, I believe, for today, or second one. Or, well, this wasn't, let's say, good loot. I'm very interested to see what's the build of that Astra. Didn't look like they dropped a lot. Perhaps a very cheap Astra, which is very rare. 760 million Astra kill. Yeah, this was a very cheap Astra that missed a bunch of modules, and they even used prototype rigs. Okay, let's not look at that kill anymore. Next we have another Astra. My alt is on the way to web the little ship. Okay, webbed. The Revelation still locking on. The Astra trying to move, but that's not going to happen with Daredevil webs. Okay, and let's delete the Astra. Nice, that was a solid hit. Let's loot the wreck, if there is any wreck. Where is the wreck from the asteroid? There it is, okay. And this is what I call a solid loot drop. Nice, some analyzers, some scanners, and I think I even got Sister of Eve ship debris. And let's dock this immediately, just in case if I do something dumb like shooting my own alt and killing it by accident. 1.6 billion. And yes, this asteroid dropped everything. Nice, this is jackpot right here. About 1.5 billion in loot. And this asteroid did have some rigs. Okay, for a second I thought that they did not have rigs, but this was a very nice asteroid catch. Next we have one Armageddon 2. Let's quickly engage the Armageddon. Now for a Armageddon, I think both guidance disruptors and tracking disruptors are a valid option, because the Armageddon is a drone boat and they can actually use both. So until you find out what kind of modules they use, it's better to apply both the disruptors and the guidance disruptor as well. And there is a Cinnabal just chilling, or there was a Cinnabal. They burned back to the gate. I guess they did not want to be part of what's about to happen to this Armageddon. And the Armageddon has been destroyed. That was a pretty solid catch. The Armageddon 2 is a, I would say, a rare ship. I don't see a lot of them flying around, so always nice to shoot down something that's a little bit more rare. The loot doesn't seem to be that impressive. Let's see if the Cinnabal comes back. Okay, 2.1 billion Armageddon kill. A very weird build indeed. I expected to have some high slot modules, but unfortunately they didn't have. Oh, look, the Cinnabal is back. Well, I guess they are outside of the bubble, so yeah, chasing makes no sense. I was busy looking at the kill. Okay, well, let's go back to the orbit. Let's go back to the mothership to recharge the capacitor. Now, just to confirm something, yeah, they did not have any high slot modules, which is a little bit weird because they should have enough power grid to fit large modules. Next side we have one Daredevil. Not my Daredevil, but this Daredevil jumped in, so I have to be quick on webbing the target. Okay, Daredevil has been webbed. Tracking disruptors on, and the Revelation did its thing. Okay, let's loot the Serpentis wreck and then we can go back to the orbit of the big boat. And we got some Serpentis stuff, very nice. I actually thought to go and buy the Serpentis web, Serpentis micro-drive, basically everything Serpentis for this ship, but I didn't end up doing that for now, but that's the plan. Would be a nice touch to have those modules on the Serpentis ships. Now we have one Drake and there is one Venture. Not really sure what the Venture is doing here. Let me go and tackle the Venture 2 as well. Okay, webbed. And let's slap the... Or not, it missed actually. Okay, that's new. Although I'm pretty sure the next cycle will hit. And let's go back to the orbit. $221 million Drake kill, which surprisingly almost has the same build as the Lala Snake from before, which is a little bit interesting. Next we have one Hurricane, and looks like my alt crashed for some reason. Well, that's new. Let's go back to the... Let's log in the alt. And this Hurricane actually decided to go and aggro the Revelation, which is interesting. Well, okay. Logging in the alt just in case if I need the webs, but looks like the Hurricane is literally after the Revelation. They're not interested in the frigate. They're interested in the big ship. Now they are into hull. They did well until they stopped moving. Once they stopped moving, I started to do damage. And well, I did not need the tackle after all, I guess. Well, let's return the alt around the orbit of the Revelation. It happens when the device gets really warm. After all, running 2 accounts and recording and editing at the same time is quite the task. 228 million prototype kill. Looks pretty good. Looks pretty solid. Next we have Hurricane. Now the Hurricane is approaching me, so I should be able to... Well, it did not pop, so let me send the alt to web the Hurricane. And now the Hurricane is destroyed. Didn't think that I would need to use the webs, but I guess I did need to use the webs. It happens, I guess, not a big problem. Let's take a look at the kill. 573 million, very nice. That's a pretty solid Hurricane kill. I would say also quite expensive one. Next we have one Prophecy. Well, the Prophecy survived one hit on a little bit of... a little bit of hull. Let's take a look at the kill. Whoops, not at the Diplomacy, my apologies. Wrong click, 213 million. Very nice. Next we have a Tornado. The tornado is tracking disrupted, webbed, and well, the revelation did its thing, and the ship is destroyed. Okay, let's go back around the big boat. 344 million. This was a sniper, and they did not use any micro warp drives, which is a, let's say, interesting choice for a sniper. Usually the tornado has one large or medium micro warp drive, but I guess they did have extra range, which also works, but the lack of propulsion is perhaps going to be a problem against faster ships. Next we have another Hurricane. They have been webbed, tracking disruptors active, and well, this Hurricane did go down in one hit. Let me check out the wreck. Now, the one thing that might be a little bit annoying about the Daredevil is the fact that once I destroy the ship, the Daredevil goes in a random direction with the micro drive, which, you know, might be a problem if there is a next target and if the ship goes extra 20 kilometers away from the target. And the loot, well, the loot is not the best in this case, but it's okay. I noticed the developers started to add a lot more use for the faction items, and I believe the price on the faction items might go up once we start getting the new, let's say, the new Tech 2, Tech 3 ships. The blueprint for the mechanic on how to create them is actually there. They just have to implement it, and I believe that's what's going to happen. Next target we have one Vexor. Webbed, I mean, yeah, they are webbed by the Daredevil, and the revelation did its thing. I have to admit, this is the nastiest and the most lethal combo that I did come up with in recent days. A Daredevil tackle plus revelation as DPS on a single device running simultaneously side by side. Basically main account plus alt account is very nasty. 327 million, solid kill, and they dropped some missions, which is very nice. About, I would say, 30, 40, maybe even 60 million loot, which is pretty solid. Next we have one Cyclone. The Cyclone seems to have a skin, or they seem to have Next target we have one Bomber. A Purifier 2, to be more accurate, and the Bomber has been destroyed. Okay. Now, I've noticed that I'm able to basically hit any ship, and I did already come to that conclusion before. So now the question is, keep using the Daredevil or or swapping to the Vigilant, or perhaps even using the Vindicator. However, I feel like for the sole purpose of tackle, a Daredevil does the job really well because it's fast. The Vigilant might also be the choice because it's also fast and it has a lot more tank, but the Vigilant might be a lot more vulnerable to my own mistakes. Now, by my own mistakes, that means that I can accidentally kill my own ship, because as you could notice, I do light up my own ships by accident quite often, which is not a big problem when I have the Daredevil out, but might be a problem when I have the Vigilant out, because it's actually a lot easier to hit a Vigilant. After all, it's a cruiser, and cruisers are a lot easier to hit. This was one prototype, 145 million. These ships were always about 140, 150 million. They haven't been changed in pricing for a very long time. Next we have a Ferox. A red Ferox, which means I will get paid for killing it. Every red ship that you see is basically part of a contract, and I will get paid for killing them, so it's just extra bonus on the ISK part. Can't hurt to have extra payment in bounties. Always nice to have that. Decent loot. I think I might dock the loot in a moment. Let's take a look at the kill. 157 million. This looks like a PvP Ferox with a lot of stabs, which is a very interesting choice. Next we have a battlecruiser. This battlecruiser should go down in one hit. They have their shield damaged, not really sure why. Perhaps there is a camp down the road from this system. And this battlecruiser got destroyed in one nice hit. There is always a chance that these ships survive one hit, but in most cases they don't. 426 million, solid catch. A sniper battlecruiser. Overall, I'm quite happy with the loot. Oh, what is that? A Charon covert ops. Okay.
Fire.
Only a normal Charon, my apologies, not a covert ops one. Let's send alt to catch this Charon. The ship came here at the wrong time. But unfortunately this Charon did warp out. I was a little bit late to tackle it. Well, not a big problem. Next we have another... Oh, we have an Eros, okay. A transport ship. One of the last Neros transport ships that I've killed dropped some nice C-types, so you never know what they can drop. Okay, nice. Let's take a look at the kill. Perhaps I get free C-type lasers. Well, I got some free minerals. Can also be used. Also a red target, which means I'll get paid for destroying their ship. Next we have a Cyclone that has the Halloween skin. Well, it had the Halloween skin, now it doesn't have it anymore because it's destroyed. Sending the alt to loot and then sending the alt to the station. Let's take a look at the Cyclone kill. 189 million, a cursed Cyclone. The Oracle in Hull will go down in a moment. Okay, let's take a look at the kill. 294 million, pretty solid. Always nice to shoot down an Oracle, they can be quite expensive, and we have a prophecy. Should go down in one single hit. Okay, prophecy has been destroyed. 368 million, a decently valued prophecy. And they dropped a lot of stuff. Okay, let's go back around the big boat. Next target we have one Nereus 2, also a red Nereus 2, so it means we get paid to kill. We get paid to kill this ship. And I'm all in for that. Okay, the Nereus 2 has been destroyed. $520 million. Unfortunately, only rigs inside of this ship. Would be nice if the ship was fully loaded, but unfortunately not every transport ship will be fully loaded. Next target we have one Ferox Command, which is also red, which means we get paid for this one as well. 13,000 first hit. I guess the shield on this ship did hold really well for the first impact. But I think the next one will be enough, and the Ferox Command has been destroyed. Okay, let's lock on the RevDevil for capacitor support. Next we have another Ferox. And this Ferox got also destroyed in one hit. Well then, today we had some really nice targets, including that one capital ship that was really unexpected, but at the same time it happens sometimes. And not really sure how many ships we have destroyed today. It became a little bit hard to track the kill value that we do. However, I'm pretty sure we destroyed a lot of ships today throughout this weekend. So with that being said, hope that you enjoyed. I'm still going to be improving the support build on the Revelation, and I'm very interested to see what's the final result going to be. But with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.